some work to be done. Koi, they have struggled immensely. Only a single point so far they have on the board. And then the question comes, Emmy, like, what do they have to play for now? Definitely not seeding. Like, even if they win this full-fledged, they get 3 points. They'll still be a point behind Secret. So it's just their honor and showing to the world that they can win. That's all that's on the line for them here.
Obviously, as they highlighted before, Club was where we saw VP take their loss. This split versus ITB, there was punished mistakes, there was moments that was sort of taken out of their hands because of a bit of sloppiness here. Koi think that they can punish that, and I guess VirtusPro think that they can try and smooth those problems over, get themselves one more game, because CIS region teams, they love a bit of Club.
Yeah, that was my worry as well when we came out here. They love to play Club. And of course, it didn't really go well last time they got here against ITB. A 6-8 loss for VP. So that does leave you questioning, like, okay, how is this going to be happening? On the other side, Koi, they play Club as well against Secret. An 8-6 loss for them. So, yeah, both teams identical losses, just against different teams.
So, the one thing that can change up here, because Koi's place at the bottom of the board is cemented, there is no way that they can catch up to Secret. VirtusPro currently sit in that first place spot. They currently sit with that little skip against it. If they do not find at least a round, then they can fall all the way down to third. Into the Breach will be pushed up to second because of the head-to-head, and Wild will find themselves in that first spot after their fantastic 7-0 performance earlier. If they can keep themselves at least 2 rounds away, they need at least 5 rounds here, VirtusPro, and they can keep themselves in that first seed. So Wild have eyes on what work can be done here by Koi, but there is that strange sort of sentiment because the Wild have been on the receiving end and the givers of so many 7-0s this split. Koi probably aren't their best friends right now.
No, but I mean, Koi, still a team, still competitors. They want to show what they can do. And also, it's, you know, a good test, a final test before you go over to the open qualifiers, which is where Koi will be, well, not really relegated to, but definitely in the terms of making it to the major. But also for the side of VP, you know, they'll be looking to get 5 rounds. But again, we'll be aiming for more, wanting to pick up with a full-fledged victory, keep everything in their own hands, and not let it get to where it got for the previous match, where Wolves only needed 1 more round before BDS took it all away from them and they got relegated to a 2nd spot.
VP, a sloppiness that was highlighted from their recent showing here, might turn into a little bit of a sharper swing. They had a worse time on their attack than they did on their defense. They were only able to take 2 attack rounds throughout the entire 6-8 showing. They really need to see if they can try and push that medal a little bit further. Dan suffers a fair bit on the end of a C4, but is allowed to keep his life. There'd be a little bit of regret. They couldn't quite get the full send on that, but they still have 2 more. So, alongside the impacts, they're more than happy to play this long game.
Then, of course, it's going to be bringing Ram. The Bugies will be opening up this long hallway, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be giving them quite a lot of verticality to play with here. The shotgun doing some work as well, and that's just making sure that you can do it safely. All pre-placed C4s that could be out there will be destroyed. Not that there is any, but it's just that bit of safety you have you otherwise wouldn't have when you have to use a sledge to open up. He still has 2 left, so no, I guess the kitchen is going to be falling victim to these buggies as well.
It keeps you safe from the C4s. There is still obviously the chance at a vertical fight there, but it's not going to be something that gets you caught the same way a sledge or a buck would otherwise be on the wrong side of. Deploy him, get him out of there. You can destroy him with explosives, but it's not really worth the juggle and the risk. 45 seconds though, and we do still need VP to actually put some pressure onto the heart. Dan goes down. As I said, the vertical is still going to be a danger. Picked up by the C4 of Deepak, looped against the bars of the floor there. Oh, and with that break on the mirror window not quite coming together, it's now made it a bit of an awkward pass through. VP they haven't really been quick enough. Joystick needs to put the pressure onto Blue. Cryin shuts down any of the pressure coming from one side. Hosty is able to get another swing. And with Joystick now just getting the pinch onto one side, they're trying to pick up the back end as well. This looks like a bit of a flawless opener. Always the last swing stops it being a flawless, but can't do much more than that.
No, won't be able to do more than that. And, you know, looking back at the round, VP a bit, you know, desynchronized in their pushes. Some 1v1s coming through. Nothing really as a team effort. And of course, I think, like, especially if we're looking at the bottom floor, it's going to be the hardest to go for that synchronized push. Often requires you to drop hatches, move down the staircases all at the same time. Especially if you are at a man disadvantage, it's not going to be working out that well for you. So let's hope that we're going over to the second floor bomb sites now. Gym bedroom up first. VP is going to be able to show up a bit more as a team. Quite played that well, by the way. Use of the Valkyrie cameras. We're always aware of when a drop would be coming through the motorcycle hatch. That's a big advantage. I mean, knowledge is power literally in Rainbow Six Siege. And them, you know, having that full read and VP not being aware of the fact that they're being spotted almost 24/7. That basically already hurts any attempt that VP wanted to go for.
When there's no pressure, you can sort of play with a little bit more confidence, a little bit more bravado. They were good at eking out the space. They know what VP's weakness is on that time sort of clear, on that make them second guess, make them double down. Obviously the play against the C4, the swing up back against the vertical. On this site, though, they don't quite have that full pressure of time. They can get themselves in maybe a little bit sharper. Cryine's going to see how much time he can waste on the back end, with Hoxty offering themselves some support. How long until they are forced out of that position?
It's quite logical that we see an extension of Koi over towards Cash. Make sure that you have the opportunity to find support onto the highway if there is going to be approach there from the side of Koi. But they seem to be aiming more towards the actual jacuzzi wall. EMP is about to be tossed in by Dan. Means they will follow that up with a double hard breach to stop any trickery from going on the Ungitza side. It's just going to be a clean opening, nothing there to stop it. Now they can start focusing onto the actual... the grenade as well to follow through. Almost gets Leon there.
Very well played there. They put the pressure immediately onto the follow through with it. And, well, look at this. They pick themselves up entirely driving as a team, as a unit, making sure that there's more of that support. They said on the desk that they sort of play this old school classic bit of Siege, and well, as Ian and Fresh will attest to, Northern Soul and its classics is always a good drive for a good time, and it's having a bit of a good time here on the take across it. But they still need to force out these players. The ones holding onto CC and construction, the ones on the top of the fight. There's Deepak playing that support. As long as that castle wall's there, they're happy to play that position too, and Cryin and Hosty know that they're happy to fall back whenever they want to.
90 seconds left, and Koi, or right now, falling back from the CCTV area and from the cache area, which is now falling into the hands of VP, but that's still only step one. And Jigsaw, as he's still down below, has the opportunity to go for a late rotate if he finds Joystick. For now, it's going to be digging into the kitchen out here, holding tight, using verticality as an advantage on the hold. And VP, they need to recollect themselves. Okay, they got one part of the map, but now they still need a lot more than that. They need to get control of construction. With that, they need to find control of Logi before they can actually start pushing the site.
All the players still standing. The castle wall's falling, and Hosty getting the swing on the back. Dan gets dropped and almost baited into that. By the timing and the combination there, one person was ready for that break, and it was not his teammate. Joystick swings, doesn't know about the touch player, gets all the way around. There's the pop-up behind the desk that does get caught out. It was Cryin playing a dangerous game, but in the 3 versus 3 with the window player covered by the chassis of the holographic, Leon keeps the body balance into their favor. Great swing from Pasha, but Jigsaw just is the last bit to say.
Well done by Koi again. A decent round to come through. As, of course, like, you know, great start from 3P with opening up that wall. They did everything they needed to, but after that, they just started to struggle a little bit. They lacked a bit of the control to actually go for an execute. That might be due to the lack of pressure that was coming down into the site. Good for them, though, is that we're headed towards Cash and CCTV next. Now, we saw them attack that in that previous round as they needed to control horizontally. This time it's going to be the actual site. I'm going to say it again, if there is new viewers here, this is what is most likely the most known defensive site in CG Sport. Every team will know how to attack this. Every team will know how to defend it. And it usually starts with opening up the wall on the B-bomb site, the exterior wall from CCTV. And after that, you have either the option to go to garage or to take construction, and see if you can put up pressure onto the site afterwards. So, with the current setup, there is almost not a single reason why that main wall shouldn't be opened up. Just wondering, I saw they made a big hole in it. I wonder if they're just going to reinforce it or... Yeah, they're okay, they are. Afraid for a second they just leave it open.
Koi could get themselves the perfect start here. The 3 rounds in a row, and yeah, I said there's something of a more of a struggle when we get towards the attacks on this side, when we see that VirtusPro weren't able to make those connections themselves. Throughout this, it's sort of being proven every single step, every single game. Now, when you have a look at the flip side, Koi was a similar statistic, but you know, the momentum here of having 0 pressure is always a factor. It's always something that can play in the head. Worried Hostia disconnected for a second there.
It's always worrying when a player just suspiciously stands in place.
I think there's a new visual change where if they're wiggling, it has the legs do a full walk rather than like the shoulder shuffle it used to be, and it makes me just see people walking on the spot, which terrifies me.
A lot of damage being done to Always. Hosty in a very aggressive position as well. Near that main lobby door, gets spotted out by a drone, instantly falls back. He doesn't want to stick around and see what might come to find him. Grenades being tossed in towards the small steps. Not going to be able to find anything, but that means that VP have a good grasp on the bottom part of the garage. They just need to find the mezzanines right now, and as Leon is taking an aggressive fight, he's being fully flashed, basically locked in place. No moving for him as Jake takes a lot of damage himself as well.
Doing his best to hold out as the Bees give some of his position away. There just needs to be the follow-up. Hosty gets joystick, though. Buys themselves a second of space. They do pick up the kill. There's a second follow-through there as Jigsaw's really fractured and pretty beat up and hurt by the back end of it. With the break of the hold, they still have this pressure underneath, and obviously with Hosty being able to get the kill from it, it draws attention. It brings this idea of we've got to go and try and take that fight. We've got to make sure there's something on the end. Pasha does go down. Yeah, Frostmat caught at the top of the stairs.
Of course, can get himself out, but will be helped up as it is going to be VP continuing on towards this main push. And I don't think there's anybody watching from below right now, except for Dan, who is still quite close. And that means that Hosty, once he gets the call, has the opportunity to go for the Nitro Cell. And that's exactly when the smoke canister will find Pasha from D-Pack. Hosty now activated as well to try and go for the roam, but he gets shot at, which means that he knows he's been spotted, and that means he's occupying a single player right now.
20 seconds left, a 3 versus 3, and Always gets the grenade and goes for the plant itself. Dan picks up the vertical. They got to try and make some motions here. They swing for the fight outside, but it's well covered. A 3 versus 1. Jigsaw could not get the connection in time with post plant here, and it's a very tricky one to try and bite back in. Always pops around and cementing himself a couple of kills, and the plant itself. VP finally activate themselves to get the round.
Again, that tertiary site, CCTV cache, is that site where they need to find those victories. Wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being a 2-4 split eventually, with both those CCTV attacks to be taken by VirtusPro. As we are back towards the basement now, we need to see a bit more of a cohesive play from VP. Last round we saw them drop hatches individually, we saw them move down the staircases individually, and there was no opportunity to trade. And Koi, they took big advantage of that. They thanked them for coming in one by one and secured the round as a result.
Okay, they get one of their rounds, and they might be getting themselves closer towards a second. If they do, then they're at least confirmed second. They at least have the showdown against Eminem, I think it would be, from the opposing group. If they fall to third, they're up against Wolves. I don't think anybody really wants at this moment in time. We can start actually getting things jotted down in pen on that sort of balance list. And I guess it's always kind of nice that up until the very last game, we're working out the seeding.
It is. It means there's always something to play for, right? And if I'm correct, it meant that VP needed to win 5 rounds. Anything less is going to mean that Wild is taking that first seed. And I actually saw before this game started a bunch of the Wild players tweeting in support of Koi. Like, we are new best friends now, even though we 7-0'd you. Please go get those 5 rounds for us.
It's nice for them to reach out and ask for help. A lot of people have suffered scrapes so far as well. Seems like that heat in the early opening game is starting to kick on a little bit more.
So, as Kryne and Jigsaw looking to be very aggressive up the main stairs, they have been droned out. Trying to take care of those drones and fall back instantly afterwards. Not quite sure if they had succeeded in that particular drone. Joystick very afraid that someone might be climbing up the oil pit staircase, so... or ladder, rather. It's going to be pushing over a drone just to make sure there's that flank watch going on the Boogie in the meantime as well. Going to be opening the entire kitchen hallway there. Again, usually this is done by a sledge or a buck, but it's just a lot more safe to do it with that Boogie. Not having to be there yourself in that distance.
There's a swing from a beautiful free cam. In the perspective on all that the Boogie opened. Last time, Dan actually suffered through the vertical on the back end of it. This time, maybe not so much. Spots the Vault cam. Not all of them, though. As the other gets the read onto the hatch, and it means Kryne can maybe try and play a C4. I actually ripped it, but I guess that's the one spot of intel that they weren't able to get.
And also the Valkyrie camera in the bar telling them that there's no one currently on motorcycle hatch. Well, that can mean only one thing, Emmy. Is going to be a push on the kit on the armory side of things, and you know that could be coming through dirt, as you currently see Pasha moving in first, but also the kitchen hatch where they saw people move into, so they're going to be very aware of the push that's going to be coming down from VirtusPro here on the side of Koi. So all they need to do now is just hold off long enough to make sure that plan doesn't come in.
Here come the flashes around the corner. The swing moves on. Dan's able to get Deepak, and the first body is theirs, but Leon quickly responds. There's 28 seconds, and the pressure is still on VP to make those motions. 2 versus 2. Holding on to the fire. Pasha wants to hold on to F as well and get that kit planted as Hosty and Kryne are doing their best to bite. They have some vertical cover. But if they can get themselves round towards blue, they could really cut this in half. They don't quite know about where that final position is. Shepard has the pick onto the corridor player, leaving just Hosty. Slow rotate, the catch on the Fenrir will reveal at least one's position. It's a very awkward retake here because they still need to have 2 stories engagement. Great first body. 28 seconds to try and bait out the second. They're going to just crouch behind the box, long arm, and hope that they can get there in time. You've got to make a move here. You've got to get there in time. Hosty just holds it.
I was going to say he could just dig himself behind the boxes, and if there's nobody actively watching that, there is no verticality you can use there. And Koi, they still managed to win that round. As VP, they managed to get the plant together there. They managed to take the site. It was a very scrappy fight from either side. The plant went down. They almost went their way. But Koi, they hang on for now. They managed to find that win on the bottom floor again, on the basement again. So we head back towards the first top floor site, towards the bedroom and the gym. I said it before, I wouldn't be surprised, Emmy, if this game comes down to VP winning both CC attacks and then having to head over towards the defense, hoping to hold off Koi long enough so they can get 5 rounds on the board.
Well, from this here onwards, Koi, they're still just keeping that pressure hot, aren't they? They're making sure that everything is hard fought for, and for all the performances VirtusPro have been able to put forward before, unfortunately they're up against a Koi that playing the best that they've sort of played all split. They need to obviously keep this momentum onto the second half. There is a game of 2 halves ahead of them, and they are a team that has struggled on their attacks just as much, but if VirtusPro end up pulling out a worse performance than they did their last time in club, it might just mean that they don't even get to that precious OT that they want.
See a full attack coming out from the CCTV and cache side this time from VP. Now opening up the opposite side first, they realized that they kind of fell short in time. Need to speed it up. Not sure the Gemini Replicator actually spotted Jigsaw out there. I knew it was deactivated shortly afterwards. No, he's all the way down below, so I think he's gonna unspot it. I don't think they know about his existence right now. That means that this drone being put into a flank watch position is going to be very important for the side of VirtusPro as they start attacking, because the last thing you want is, as soon as you're about to knock onto the doors of the sides, is someone to come into the back of you.
Ryan's waiting for this approach. They've got a much more direct line here to CC. They're trying to get themselves up and under, and you can see Cryan as a sniff of the pressure, but they've also got the pings onto the player tucked around the corner. It's Jigsaw who's suffering the first bit, but Cryan pops up from behind and gets that cover and support for them. They're able to catch out VirtusPro's game, and Leon with a very prolonged fight outside has another player come for the level of support, and what a great read on what was attempted. Always gets one more on the back of it, but they just seem to step ahead.
Very aggressive there from Koi, sending two people outside to make sure that they secure those kills. Now in a man advantage, a minute 10 left on the clock. A lot of utility still to be taken care of by VirtusPro, starting off with the mirror window, which I believe... Oh, it started to pop just now. I was wondering if it was actually popping, but yes, mirror window should be open, but Cryan still below. Holding the rotation. As soon as they jump in from the rotation, they're going to be picked up. So Pasha opening this up completely needs to be wise and actually use that one. Or he's going to be losing his life.
Deepak wants the attention to come from the pings on the door that's still being read to them. It seems like this intel game is just something that is always out of the hand and pocket of VirtusPro. They don't seem to know just how much Koi knows, and they can get an advantage on this next gunfight. If they can push themselves into a 4 versus 2 with only 20 seconds, you are pretty confident the rest of the round will fall into their favor. Shepard wants to be the start on the break of the door. The C4 is taken quite quickly. There's pre-fires and pre-aims and angles towards it. Wings a bit too far. Deepak goes so close. Somehow gets the drop by the side, and Koi playing with a merriment that befits a team in their position. 4-1.
And then you're wondering, where was this Koi when it actually mattered for them, when they could still qualify? Because they're definitely playing a different game than they were back then. The time I was being called from VP. They're going to have a chat. Of course, there's something more at stake for them rather than just their honor and glory, as they're actually trying to secure themselves that first seed. And so far, things have just not gone well. They keep on being caught off guard by Koi. They turn their backs, and suddenly there's a player swinging them. That and, also the aggressive jump outs we've seen from Koi, and just generally not being afraid to pick the fight with VirtusPro. Now, of course, VP are already confirmed to go to playoffs. They're just wanting to get that first seed in. But the way things are currently going, well, they need a very good second half if they want to do so.
It needs to sort of be, above and beyond here, because we wanted improvement from their performance here the other day. We wanted to see more sort of togetherness on the approach, and they're teed up to fall even worse. They're having those sort of weaknesses shown on stream the other day, well exploited and well played against by a Koi that is more than ready. Now, it's obviously a game of two halves, and, Koi suffered on their attacks. I've said it enough times. VirtusPro might have a prepared game, but it's also one of the things about VP is they very often play their game to their pace and have that full belief and strength that if we play it better, we will win. It might be a second half where they haven't exactly gone, well, let's play against Koi's game, let's just try and improve on ours, where Koi, if they've sort of gone full strength, if we're reading them like the book, then they're going to find that sort of happy ending.
Now, VP really need to be winning this round. They've shown they can do it before with quite some success as well. It was a comfortable round, managing to get the plan down in a, 1v3 situation in the end. Skewed around on the back of it as well. And it started by opening up that main garage, and instantly afterwards, a lot of utility towards Leon Gids' position on the rafters. Now, that came with bees, that came with grenades. As the garage has opened up, that means Leon will at some point start receiving pressure. He's looking for drones. He has two of these, you know, anti-drone screens up there. It's going to be making sure that there's no information going to be given with these observation blockers. That's just the player walking by. Or was it the Gemini? I believe it was the Gemini replicator.
Shepard getting their route through. They obviously, you know, fought through onto this site. It wasn't a clean take just before. The reason for the conversation is it's not quite the full confidence. There's a bit of a peppering through of bullets. That means Shepard has to be a bit more courteous to the damage that might come his way. The role of the Rook, not the most common pickup. And, you know, Shepard's still cautious, waiting for somebody to offer some support here and spray through in case somebody does go for the peak. But aids of process, they're more than happy to take their time on, apparently.
Just got to make sure it opens up safely. You do not want to lose someone on opening up that wall. And if it takes 10 seconds longer, well, it takes 10 seconds longer. Leon Gids just drops down from the skyline, from the mezzanines, gets himself a kill. Dan drops right after as well by the hands of Jigsaw. And VP got surprised by two more aggressive plays here.
Joystick, making sure that nobody gets caught in the same trap that they had before. A take onto Deepek. Tears through the hole. The second one allows Pasha to really move their way up. They don't have the exothermic to smash through this wall, so it'll be a hop or a potential rotate. And there's the hop and the motion, and they're now going for the plant. The goo mine will buy them a little bit of extra idea of what's going on for the take. There's the bit of damage, the break, the attempts to spray over the top, but it's not enough to stop it. Cryan moves in, goes for the fight onto the rappel, can't get it, can't get the follow through. Jigsaw does find Shepard, and Hosty is able to get one on the back of it, leaving just Joystick below. Now he has the grenades to maybe play against this. He's going to hope that they're going for the plant. Gives the game away where he is, and there's Hosty to pick it up, and it is a 5-to-1 half for Koi.
Well read by Koi. They're not instantly going for the diffuser. They realize the last person was downstairs. It's Ayana. What does that mean? Grenades. So they hunt instead of trying to get that diffuser. An important call to come through, otherwise it would have been a 1v1 with yet another grenade in pocket. Could have just as well gone VP's way at that point. But a great half from Koi. 5-1. VP, they need 4 more rounds to get themselves secured first seed.
Sprabuni, if you please. That's the wrong Sprabuni stat. I must have sung the wrong song. It's my fault.
Yeah. Different song, please. Not the French version.
Sprabuni, bring us the stats on this game, please.
Hey,
no, that what? Okay,
no, that works.
No, that confused me. Yeah, no, it did. Yeah. I saw Wild's logo. I'm like, they're not here, but it is down to VP. They need 5 rounds, or Wild, based on the 7-0 they got earlier, went from maybe not making it to maybe getting top seed.
It's crazy how things can change that quickly, right? All's between first seed and not making it is a 7-0 win. And Koi is still chasing their first. Not that it matters anymore, because they're out. It's always nice to have. And they are 2 rounds away from finding themselves to their first victory. The openings start coming through. Now, the same counts here, or is here. That it's also kind of for VP. You need to see a unified attack. We cannot see Koi players going one by one. As the castle barricades are being opened up, it's the slowdown that was being put in place by VP that's quickly destroyed. As the hatches open up, some are left soft, some have been reinforced. It's Koi that's doing a lot of work very quickly here. And I'm not sure if they have a lot of pre-placed drones, but it seems like they're not worrying at all about a potential roamer being around.
If Koi can get their foot in here, if they can try and carry some of that momentum over, I mean, it would be another sort of game where nobody really expected it to go the way it has. I don't think anyone expected it to be this 5-1 half here, but a bit of a break. They're doing 2 to try and bait out impact. There are the chance of those being thrown in. There's still 2 in the pocket of Joystick, but he's not quite in the position to fight back against them because they also have this wall to contend on. Jigsaw's holding and hoping. Nobody expects him to be in that position that early. Boy, they seem to be prepping themselves for a bit of attention here onto blue and onto the back line of Kitchen.
Not sure if Leon gets actually spotted Joystick out there. As he's out and about on a bit of a roam. Could be really devastating to Koi's attack here. Drone's still driving around. Have they seen him? They're still hunting. Definitely feels like they know of something because Cryan is watching that top floor. He's watching one of the exits. As an impact comes in, Joystick deals a little bit of damage, but he takes them as well.
Cryan wants to get the lead in here. Hits the procs and realizes he just sort of kind of deep dive behind it. The flashes come out. Always in Jigsaw. Find one apiece, all in a sort of threaded fight there. Cryan gets the back end of Always, though. The risk and the surprise was worth it. He gets another! A huge connection there from Cryan, leaving just 2 VP players left. Leon's going for the plant itself. They have some safety. It's just Pasha left. There's suddenly 2 kills threaded. But with Leon getting the kit down, Pasha's got a lot to bite back in. They've got 1 player stuck just in on the corner of the hard wall. They didn't know about Koi. They are up 6-1.
And what a difference this Koi makes compared to the previous games we have seen from them. Actually working together as a team right now. Everybody is connecting to the game as well. VP, well, what was it? How many rounds did they need to not go into 3rd seed? Emmy, was that 2 rounds?
I believe so. It was either, I think 1 leaves them level and ITB get the head-to-head. So
yes, so that's what I was thinking
VP, as well. VP need a 2nd round or they fall down to 3rd. And the difference of falling down to 3rd is they'll be playing Wolves in the first best of 3 rather than M&M. And it's just...
a fall from grace.
What a day. What a day. No result from these 4 games has gone in a way where you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
10 seconds to insertion.
Well, VP,
5 seconds to
your 1st seed might be a bit out of reach right now. Let's first try and secure that 2nd seed, shall we? We've been so hyper-focused on that first one that we completely forgot about the 2nd seed they still needed to secure. Bedroom up next. This is where they need to start their flawless run on the fence if they want to be making a victory happen here for themselves. Currently, teams 1 to 3 all on 7 points, so any point for VP would be enough. Again, 5 rounds would still be enough. They can still lose the game. Selmas are deploying. It's going to mean that there is going to be an opening that VP will have to worry about on the CCTV side of things. Deepak is waiting for any help so he can start opening up the construction wall, if that's what they're coming over with the Dokkaebi. Impact's EMP will be tossed as soon as they figure out where the actual claw is.
That's a sneaky one, and not one that they've been able to find. And they're not going to double down. They're not going to risk it. It's an awkward place to root out and a very good place to deploy one. Now, there are obviously ways to get rid of it. You could roll a grenade if you desperately wanted from the hatch on the opposite end if you're feeling very confident.
Oh. Now Jigsaw's waiting very patiently here. He knows about a player that's inside a gym, but just wants the player to dig in deep next to the actual window. He starts moving himself. Is going to be taking care of the mute jammer. Now they definitely know about the player that's down there. Jigsaw is just holding off. He's just waiting at where the rotation supposedly is. Still the electric claw they need to find, though. It is pinged up top, so that should be a free opening for the side of Koi.
They're going to roll the grenade through, try and get anyone that might be trying to play against it. There's breaches on either side, and they'll pop off just to give them the angle, but
oh no,
the claw is always going to reactivate. They'd only got the 1 pocket EMP to use after the missed one previously.
Oh, that's it. They only had 1 left, and it took a while before they actually got their heart breach on, and, you know, they didn't wait for Deepak either. A grenade will eventually take it out, though, so it means that they can still open up, but putting down an extra thermic on what is left of this wall is going to be very dangerous. They need to make sure there's no one watching on the opposite side of things. Especially looking through a mirror window, of course, not really in danger. The grenade from Jigsaw is going to be making sure no one's inside the bathroom. The wall will open up, and they have themselves an opportunity to push through now with 30 seconds left on the clock.
Jigsaw creeping their way up. Played a surprise game before, but the player who's crouched under might be the first to get the swing round. There's only 15 seconds, and, well, they have a body advantage, but you still got to try and put the pressure on and get the plant. The swing comes round, and it's Jigsaw's to take. Tears the head off of the touch player. There's one more round on the corner, and they can't quite react fast enough, and VP light up when they have that time advantage cry, and all that's left. They just did not have enough time, Koi, to push that final one over. 6-2. VP, they've secured themselves second place. ITB are now third. We can start penning things in. ITB will be up against Wolves, I believe, in the first of the decider matches, but they need another 3 if they want to try and get themselves that first shot.
Great stuff from VP, but they need more than that. Back towards the basement they go. And for Koi, I'm going to be riding that round off on the actual breach. They failed to open initially. Cost them a lot of time. If they waited for like 2 more seconds until Deepak was there, they could have done a double breach. Made sure the exothermic at least would have popped off. And the Selmas also took a while before they were being deployed. Like, the impact hit, and then it waited for like 2-3 seconds, and then they tossed up the Selmas, basically making sure that the second one never had enough time to pop. I mean, you're gonna lose your time at that point. You're gonna run out of it, and there's nothing left you can do but just to run in. And while it might work for a kill or 2 here and there, eventually VP able to hold off. Back towards the basement though, and we found mixed success here so far. This time our plan came down behind the bar after VP unable and basically being picked apart on the side itself.
Koi, I mean, maybe they go from having no pressure to some pressure to try and push this game over the edge. We've been able to dispatch teams before, and they have such a good lead, you assume they can try and get this one a bit further over, but stranger things have happened. Quick boogie breaks over the top, the long corridor. It's not becoming a staple of the takes onto this site, but I do like the fact that we're seeing the operator get some play, even though they are a 1-speed. That really removes them from a lot of teams' generic rotation. There are these instances where you can sort of, I was going to say painlessly get those floors open, but Hosty takes a lot of pain in doing one side of it.
I mean, it's kind of what we usually see, right? Like, the boogie opens up, and then the defenders, they're just looking to take a fight right on the back of it. So, yes, you might be opening it up without being present to C4s, but if anybody walks past afterwards, there's always a defender watching somewhere along that long line that has just been opened up. So, need a bit of extra information out there. Opening will be made. Don't think there's any tricking going on, and that's why Leon gets us out there with the Maverick as well, just to put that extra pressure down. Otherwise, you give the Cade an opportunity to just juggle those Electro Claws around. And that's one hatch open up for Koi. Still be looking to open up the others as well.
Attackers dropped the diffuser. Attackers recovered
Which I believe just kitchen is left. Yeah. But it's been electrified as well, so need a bit of extra utility out there. They need those EMP impacts from Hosty.
You can see now as the floor continues to fall, Jigsaw and Leon have got themselves tucked in, and Jigsaw's trying to find the fight on the back of it. Just sprays through the opening line. The catch on the goo mine and the catch on the 2 players back end. Boy have suffered, but Jigsaw at least gets a take there. There's nowhere really safe for him to put this pressure on. That grenade will not quite get the full bite onto Shepard. He just braves it out. Takes half damage for the trouble. See that VirtusPro are just sort of sticking around, and but with Deepak above the hatch, with the cross angle watched by Dan, Koi have hit a bit of a brick wall on the approach. Big rotation. Deepak wants to offer some support to the 2 players who are working in some slight tandem. There's still a tuck onto blue. There's a crouch round on the back. As soon as he steps too far, you assume the blue player is going to go for the swing here, but 15 seconds. 4 players to fight through. Doesn't really look like a Koi round.
10 seconds left.
Now, Hustley, last man standing, is going to try and salvage it, but 6 seconds left, 4 players still around. It's going to go nowhere. It's going to be a VirtusPro round, meaning only 2 more to find themselves secured in that first seed. Like how Hustley actually waited with the Gun 6 there, just in case he actually killed himself with it. Wanted to just get it out the way at the last second. And kind of did a lot of things right there. They made the openings they needed to. They just were unable to find the actual approach, find the actual pressure onto the players, onto the side this time. Because the last time they attacked, they managed to clean them up quite effectively. This time I lacked a bit of pressure. Maybe a player from blue would have helped there, due to the fact that there was a player out there holding the motorcycle hatch, making sure no one could really pass through that door. But that's over and dusted for now. As Koi called their timeout. They want to be dragging this across the finish line.
Yeah, it's entirely that, right? It's if not now, then when? It's that worry of, well, you know, we're able to quickly take our first attack round. Those two have just gotten out of hand and out of pocket, and we're this close, and this is their weakest. This is our opportunity. Because if they can't get it across the line here, it's not to say that they won't be able to in the pickup following rounds, but then suddenly you're going back to sites that you've lost. You're back onto sites that, let's be honest, on Gym, they never really got a look in. They failed on those breaches, and then the second take on Armory, they just ran out of time. They have to make sure it's this, and it's really a bit of a do or die moment, which is always strange to say when they're still up 6-3.
It is strange to say, but this might be the best opportunity, given it's going to be that tertiary site we find
100%.
ourselves at.
100%.
So, I mean, they might be coming back here at some point as well, but you kind of want to lock it off now. Just make sure that you have it out of the way.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Find that victory, prepare yourself for the opens.
10 seconds to go.
Again, pretty default take is most likely what we'll see here from Koi. Opening onto the main wall. It's going to be teamed up by
Are heading out to defuse.
both the Ace as the Thermite, of course, with the Thatcher to provide cover with the EMPs. And afterwards, we'll see the garage to be taken as well by the attack. The mezzanine as the goal to eventually ascend towards the site. Always is roaming down below. That might be an actual problem, given that he has a C4 available to him. That's something you do need to take care of if you want to go for a plant. So the sooner they know about that, the better.
Quick break and breach onto the CC wall. Leon's going to watch it out. It was pretty standard setup takes from their opponents before. They have that same stretch, a couple of players off towards the gym bedroom side and construction to make sure that they can't just be swung onto on the back end and have some peer and protection towards this, the player that is otherwise tucked up as safe as they can be. Camera popped and removed. Jigsaw working his way underneath. Bit concerned that somebody might be on blue and that he's got himself into a little bit of a sticky situation early, but if he can go untested with these grenades, suddenly you might have a bit more of a definition to this round.
Jigsaw still holding as the openings are being made in the other walls. Interesting way to hold your gun. Openings are being made in the different walls that might matter later on. Leon getting back towards the main breach. He has that diffuser. Of course, he's going to be trying to either digging close towards the breach, or he's going to run behind the server stack. Dan, though, will find Hosty a great first pick that will actually slow down any potential push that might come on the back of it. Leon gets taken down as well, which means the diffuser now stuck on the ground. Jigsaw will find almost Pasha with that grenade. So he just steps away in time. It seems like Koi is falling apart completely on this round. They haven't been able to enter the building properly. They made all the breaches happen, but besides that, nothing that they could get done to maybe try and get this plan happen.
What a round for things to fall away from them. Said it was an important one for them to cement. Said it was an important one for them to get over that mental hurdle. VirtusPro apparently had the same feelings. Their strongest lockdown, that just rebuff of any other approach here, and say Koi have fallen apart a bit. There's obviously still the opportunity of them to get back into this fight and try and get them over the edge. But, you know, every single round we get a bit closer here. I think you can see Wild getting a little bit more concerned. That first spot will fall away. What was a distance of 6-1 now becomes a distance of 6-4.
5 seconds left.
And that means that this next round will decide whether or not Wild or VirtusPro is going to be the first seed. Now, the last time we had that was between BDS and Wolves. They were facing each other, then Wolves got 1 round short as BDS locked it off and took that first seed. Are we going to get a repeat story here? Is this going to be Koi locking it off with just a single round, removing VP from that top spot?
It's strange how we, at the start of this playday, we're throwing all these ideas, and I was messaging Sprabuni about, oh, okay, well, there's this, and you know, there's this, and this possibility, and being like, that's not going to happen. This isn't going to matter. Every single game, pretty much without fail, has had us in this situation where we've suddenly appeared on the, oh, this was like a 0.2% chance of happening. Oh, it's happened. Oh, this is, oh, then, you know, they're not going to get 5 rounds. They're down 6. Oh, we are now 6-4. It's just, it's both very exciting as a final day, but also all of them have sort of happened a bit out of nowhere.
Bomb located by attackers.
Now, which team is going to give themselves a free day tomorrow? Is VP going to be able to find a round and with that secure themselves a bye? Or as well, cheering really hard right now for Koi to just lock it off so they can sleep in tomorrow and prepare for whoever is going to come up next against them as their opponent gets decided tomorrow after best of 3s. Koi pushing up quickly, hoping to open up Jacuzzi as soon as possible. Not wasting any time. Because we've seen them run out of time on their attacks. That's something they cannot afford. As the mirror windows are being set up. I love that frost mat down there, by the way. As soon as you make a rotation in it, jump away. And they might have a feeling like they can take it. You might actually catch someone off with that frost mat down there. But of course, if we see another grenade follow up right after they open it up, that's just going to get destroyed.
Quick break and attention paid to it, and time was a factor, and this time they're being much more decisive about the breaks onto those hard breach. Much more attention paid towards the objective, towards the focus on getting the things that slowed them down massively before. Obviously, they didn't get construction all open last time round, which does limit some of the catching you can do on the players on the CC side. It means that they can sort of have the fallback on construction at least a little bit safer if, you know, the wall is still standing, maybe even break. But here, no messing, no fussing. Boy has done that first objective.
I don't think they've seen the Frostmat Emmy when they droned the bathroom. Now, I'm not sure if it got destroyed by the Salmons. I don't think it did. And that means when Leon Gibbs might want to go for a hot dash through, and he steps a little bit to the left, he might get himself caught off, and with that, the diffuser dropped. So that's something to keep in mind for the late part of this round. Jigsaw's trying to find something with grenades. Is he going to find anyone? No, Shepard just delayed and actually stepping into it. His delay and looking through the hatch actually saved his life down there. Second one to be used. That is not going to be finding anything either. Leon Gibbs is right next to the wall. If he just jumps over, he might be picked up, but I believe he used an extra thermic to open it up, and with that, also the Frostmat destroyed.
50 seconds. The longer this timer ticks, the more and more worried you get a bit here, but they took a risk and it's almost paid off. Pasha gets the end of it. Koi, they went for a bit of a dive right towards the sort of setup and the door of the site itself. Hosty gets caught out by Always, and 30 seconds now. The time is halved since I was last concerned, and we only get more and more. The grenade will go a bit too deep. Cryin wants to fight, and Deepek's going to go for the cover. Joystick and Cryin get one apiece. The swing round and Cryin does the bits, but the kit is no longer being planted. Cryin stuck in a 2 versus 1. They've pulled themselves as close as they can. There's a fight to his left. He doesn't quite see it in time, but they missed the shots, and VP get their 5th round. They secure the top spot. I am losing my mind.
They let it get down to the very wire down there, but at least they secured their own first seed based on round differential. Now, they can still do it on points if they find themselves with a 6th round here. Equalize up that score, pushes through overtime. and give Koi a real run for their money if they want to get a victory at this stage. Of course, still an opportunity to go for that full-fledged 3-point victory. It's just that Wild will no longer benefit on the back of it. And as we head towards that basement site, it is going to be a very tough attack for Koi to stick on the board.
We said it at the time of the timeout. It was sort of it's do or die. And there was a part of you that didn't want to believe that you were right? There was the part of you that was like, surely. But it's such a big hurdle because teams build energy. Teams build momentum. And VirtusPro going from sort of the shrug off of the 4 rounds in a row from a 6-1 to a 6-5. Even though Koi have had a very rocky season, not being able to push this game over the edge might be the worst part of it.
They want to prove that they can win. That's it, right? It's like you just want to show that you have what it takes to find a victory. And what better way to do it than against the first seed of the group? I'm not going to say they're brick braining this by giving them 5 rounds and then to lock it off. That's totally not what's happening. But it would show their potential if they are able to win the victory, get the victory now. Deepak, aware of the fact there's someone near the main stairs, means he might be a bit cautious with throwing the boogie in. Or could easily be counted off if a impact gets used or if someone shoots off the red canister on the back of it. This time the IQ is going to be able to spot out some of those Valkyrie cameras, which might be useful for the side of Koi. You want to deny as much information as you can towards your opponent. Ooh, Pasha. He's looking to go a little bit naughty there if Leon Gibbs is going to be taking a window approach.
Still waiting. Still hoping they can get a catch. It's not the most expected play. The impact, they waited as long as possible to get another second. Deepak's head isn't too far away. Pasha has a chance to get one more. He's hoping that they assume the players moved out and that they can get them as soon as they move through. There's the next break. Fortunately, not being gifted on it. The patience of Koi at least pays off to save their life from that, which might have put them in the worst tailspin at the end of this game.
A minute 15 left. Jigsaw working with that electronic sensor here to spot out those cameras from the Valkyrie, the black eyes, just to make sure that there's no information in the hands of VirtusPro to use in that post-plant. Bugis are going off as well to open up as much verticality as possible, giving the upper edge to the attacking team that's just looking to go for a plant quickly. But it seems like it might be coming down for another triple wall approach as the Selmas are coming through. The tricks of the bandit are there as well. How many will Shepard get? I believe there's just one set of the Selmas, and a big opening will be made in the remaining walls.
Shepard's still setting himself up quite aggressively because he knows that he's got always on the swing for some cover and support, and they've only got 30 seconds. The things are going to get a little bit do or die and desperate, and as always plays against it. Shepard does find that first fight onto the first player that drops. Always goes down though, but Dan gets Leon. Technically a 3 versus 4, but with Hosty able to get one more and Crying going for a bit of a deep dive, there is the down player who can get the pick back up on it. It's a 3 versus 3, but they're stuck in the corner. There's 10 seconds. It's a overtime. From a 6-1, we have fallen all the way to an overtime, our first of the day.
And with that, Koi, they might see their hopes of winning that single map, a single game in their group, slip away slightly. Cash CC is up next. VP, they have a complete site reset, but will be choosing Cash and CC to go on. Now, we've actually seen a very convincing victory from VirtusPro here, so that might be the reason why they've chosen it, because no one was really able to enter the building from Koi's side. And it seems like Koi currently, they are very well prepared for a basement take again by the operator selection. Soon they'll find out that it's actually the top floor. It's actually CC Cash, guys. And thus the changes will have to come in.
Okay, let's see how this unfolds. There's still such a big part that has that Ian Chambers level of hope that Koi can just push this one over the end because they were so close to doing it. They're in such a good place. It would be such a good boon for a team that has fallen from where they once were to where they're at. And, you know, with shortened sort of playthroughs, with how rocky things are, and with how much they already have to play. They know that they're playing through the open. They know that they're having to scrap and brawl their way through a lot of unknown entities to get another chance to be at it. But just having a bit of this positive swing round, I think would do such a distance. Here, VP, they've secured their first spot. They know where they're sitting. They only have one best of 3 series between them and a place at the major. Their run is close, cemented.
Koi, you need 2 more rounds to find yourself that victory. What can you bring? Last time this attack was hopeless to some extent. Same openings are being made. You get yourself the same opportunities again. You just need to find those opening kills and actually capitalize on the back of it. Now, DP, they know the job is done, but they still want to go out with another victory in their pockets as well. They're fighting for that. And as joystick goes down, that's a great start for Koi.
It's a necessary start for Koi. They're able to get rid of the player on the rafters. They're able to get the breach open as well. It was, you know, they got some of that done last time, but otherwise, everything was sort of out of their reach. They can push this over the edge. They can get back to their defense where they had the 5-1 half. Might be able to find the end of it. Cryan tentatively steps in and steps up along the side of rafters. They're about to hit him. That's the goo mines. Don't fall for them, but Dan almost falls next.
And it's on the opposite side of the map as well. Grenades are starting to roll through, but I believe that one was just undercooked as it bounced back down. Didn't do a single point of damage. As Koi is getting themselves ready, it is the diffuser that's being handed over towards Hosty here. He is the one that needs to try and make that plant happen in about 10, 20 seconds from now. A grenade gets tossed over, might not actually find a player right behind as Pasha finds Jigsaw. They keep on trading now between these 2 teams.
They want to see if they can try and just sneak this plant in. Pasha has 2 more canisters and always a C4 and not too far out of reach. That's what the grenades are trying to get rid of. And once again, falls a little bit. But look at Dan on the backside. He's going up round the back. Always gets the C4. Dan gets the flank. Onto Cryan round the stairs. Leon's able to bite their way in. But now he goes down, leaving just Deepak left. There's a bulletproof that's been giving the game away that finally gets dropped and rocked. The impacts are coming from underneath to try and get the finish onto Leon. The ping's out on the player. They're playing the vertical. They know exactly where they are. Deepak gets the kill through it. And with 10 seconds left with the swing round, the shotgun gets both! Pasha tears through them and Koi lose out again from 6-1 to 7-6.
One pump, 2 birds there as Pasha closes it off. And it's looking very dire for Koi now. Choose to go towards the basement, trying to hold off, trying to bring this to a maximum amount of rounds. Give themselves another opportunity of locking it off. Because they've already lost 5, and now they're trying to fend one off. Great pick there from Hosty, but just not enough. You don't see this often either, just a double kill with a single pump.
And a rehost on a game crash. 7-6, and it's devastating. There's no 2 ways about it. It is such a rough pill to swallow. And yeah, you know, you're up against the top seed. It was always the game that you went into, but it's just a bit ill-fated. It is rough. There's no sort of way to sugar it, unfortunately. And I'm using these words. I can imagine it's going to be filled with a lot more expletives when we do finally get round to Fabian on the desk.
He started off the game, the day quite expressive already. So cannot wait to see how he's going to be closing the day off.
It's like, you know, everyone has generally experienced this play in this game at some point is the words heartbreaking defeat come up on the screen.
Yeah.
This is the most. This is the dictionary definition if this goes away from Koi. It is heartbreaking. It's whether you're a fan or not, it's just it's rough.
I mean, you see it on Leon Gids' cam, right? Like the major, the one, they've won a major. They've attended many majors. I believe that one was from Sweden.
It was
the Shield out there. I don't know which one it was anymore because we've been there so often.
That was Yavle, I believe.
Was it Yavle or was it Jönköping? I think it was Yavle. Yeah, it was Yavle.
Was it SI? No.
I don't know anymore.
It definitely wasn't Jönköping.
That's what happened when we get there for 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
But it's like they've been to so many majors and now they just find themselves in a slump. And then they're so close to 6-1 and they just cannot lock it off. And that's just painful. And it's not just painful for the fans, but it's even more heartbreaking for the players themselves because they know what they're capable of. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't connect. It doesn't come across the finish line.
Well, we'll be back in the game soon. Depending how this goes. It's you have to still look at the positives, I guess, from the side of VirtusPro. They've been able to fight back into this game from pretty much the worst possible situation. I said they were going to have challenges on their attacking half. There is still a potential attack ahead of them. However, it's a very different game at this point. It is a very different play space. They have had their time out. They've also warmed up much more towards the game. They are working well on the unison. The flanks are coming out. The motions of the team is a little bit more active and reactive. It might be something that translates over onto their attack against what is likely to be a more disheartened Koi. And it seems like the players are fist bumping and getting back ready. You can imagine we will be in momentarily for 1, maybe 2 rounds left of this showing.
Yeah. See maximum 2 more rounds to come through, but it could end in the very next one. If VP managed to lock off this basement attack, sorry, I thought for a second we were on a different site initially, but and as we get underway very soon here, of course VP they attacked this. They looked to be not unified as they did. Coming in like solo plays didn't really work out that way. I think that might be what Koi is hoping for here again, where we see a bit of a desynchronized push, which they can punish by focusing their attention on like a single point of interest.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
It is kind of wild to go, if this game goes away from them here, this is a more heartbreaking thing than being beat 7-0 by Wild. Because they were 1 round away for such a long time from closing it out, and well, they might still. Quickly pulling back towards the site. Jigsaw is the only one not down on the basement, but he's really not that far away. With a lot of time left, VP will still do usually quite thorough checking and clearing of what is ahead and around them. We remember Koi being quite enigmatic, and it seems like they might want to dabble. There goes Cryan up towards the top. Will he be followed by Hosty? Dan might be the one that meets them, making quick ground across as well. Dan is in a position to watch out.
Some good information being gained here by VP, realizing that there is some aggression looking to be brought by this side. Oh, Dan almost losing his life out there as he opens up from 2 floors above. And everybody from Koi starts to fall back. Hatches are being opened up as well. No response to that for the side of Koi.
Getting the reveal. what is around them. The pull on the intel, as I said, it was something that seemed to work quite well in Koi's favor before against the approach here of VP. They're definitely a bit more attuned than aware of it, but there's still the fight down towards the site. Leon wants to take a risk. Moves up into the empty space. A big engagement goes away from them, and the second almost does as well. Chases and gets the down onto Hosty. A grenade could be the sorting factor, and there's the roll. It should just be out of range. A second is about to come down, though. This one cooked. No, they think better of it. And Jigsaw, he wants to go for the pick back up, but he knows the pressure is not far away. The drone was watching. The bees as well. There's such a statement of intent. That one rolls down. There's the cover and the drop. They cement the kill. 5-3. The risk went away from them, but there's still 40 seconds. Still an opportunity. They're going to breach and break onto the kitchen hatch. It's a big statement of intent. There's a lot of noise and awareness. I'm not sure if that was an impact. No, it wasn't. There was nothing to try and catch and stop that. Just the impact of the hatch being blown open itself. They know about the players here on the back end. Jigsaw's taking a lot of damage, clearing drones with it. The drop comes round. They bleed their way in towards the site. The bees and the blinds push them further and further back. Always does get knocked, but Dan gets the pick up on the opposite end. Joystick pushes it just down to Jigsaw. The new Aussie pickup, the Wonder Boy that can do so much, has so much to do, and he can't. VirtusPro with a massive comeback. 7 rounds in a row. And for what's to be said on the desk, I'll say it now at least. VP, with smiles on their face, have done a bit impossible and impossibly pull back their spot on the first spot.
Koi unable to secure themselves with the victory in the end. And as they tried to go aggressive over blue, that's when it all fell apart. They lost 2 players on the back of that little adventure. They almost lost Jigsaw as well, who went low trying to recover the player that was down. And in the end, VP able to capitalize on the back of that one mistaken play. They take that first seed.
I mean, well, yeah, they've got the first seed, and if you're about to watch the